ago, I sat in his living room drinking coffee that tasted like rust while he told me things that made my hand shake so bad I had to put the cup down. Things about the moon, things about what's actually up there, things about why we haven't been back in over 50 years. And here's the thing that keeps me up at night. The thing that makes me check the locks on my doors twice before bed. When I drove back to that cabin 4 days ago, trying to verify what he'd told me, trying to get more information, trying to understand, the house was empty. Not just empty like he'd moved out. Empty like nobody had lived there in years. Dust everywhere. Windows boarded up. The neighbor, a rancher about 5 miles down the road, looked at me like I was insane when I described Holloway. Son, he said, that property's been abandoned since at least 2015. Whoever you think you met there, it wasn't in that house. But I was there. I sat on his couch. I drank his terrible coffee. I saw the photos on his walls. NASA photos, mission patches, pictures of men in spacesuits. And I saw one other thing. Something I found under the porch when I was leaving. Something that's sitting in my apartment right now in a locked drawer. 3 weeks ago, I thought I understood reality. I thought I understood history. I thought the moon landing conspiracy theorists were idiots who couldn't accept that humanity had achieved something incredible. I've spent years defending NASA, defending the Apollo program, showing people the evidence, the photos, the testimonies. I still believe we went to the moon. That's not the lie. The lie is so much worse than that. The lie is about what we found when we got there. The lie is about what happened on missions that officially never occurred. The lie is about why the most powerful nation on Earth, after spending billions of dollars and risking the lives of dozens of astronauts, suddenly decided the moon wasn't interesting anymore. Just like that. We went 6 times, planted some flags, collected some rocks, and then never went back. Doesn't that seem strange to you? Colonel Holloway told me it should seem strange. He told me it should seem suspicious. He told me that the reason NASA stopped going to the moon had nothing to do with budgets or public interest or political will. He told me we were forced to stop, not by the Soviets, not by Congress, not by some failure of technology or nerve. We were forced to stop by something that made it very clear that the moon was not ours to explore anymore. Something that had been there long before we arrived. Something that was studying us the same way we thought we were studying it. Something that took one of his crew members and sent back. Something else wearing his face. That's what he told me. That's what made him cry. That's what made an 81-year-old man who flew fighter jets and orbited the Earth break down in front of a stranger. I've got the audio of our conversation. I've got photos he showed me. I've got documents with classification stamps that should not exist. And I've got that thing I found under his porch. A Polaroid that's impossible. That shows something that should not be on the moon. That proves at least one part of Holloway's story is true. I'm going to share all of it with you. But I need you to understand that by watching this, by listening to this, you're taking a risk too. Because the people who want this buried, the people who erased Holloway from history, the people who made an entire Apollo mission disappear from the records.
What's up, Michelle? How you doing?
They're still watching.
Just restarted the PC.
Really don't want you to know what I'm
About to
tell you.
get a game.
So one more time. Comment below.
How you guys
Tell me
doing?
where you're listening.
I got a friend request from who knows who.
Because what Colonel Holloway told
I'm doing
me
good.
in Cabin in Colorado 3 weeks ago, what he showed me.
I'm just chilling. I'm about to start playing video games and stuff. How you guys? What are you guys doing this weekend? I might go out tonight. I'm not even gonna hold you. I might just pull up on somebody like, yeah.
About whether we were ever really alone at all. The Apollo
But yeah.
program didn't end because we lost interest in space.
What's up, Jesse?
It ended because
How you
we
doing?
discovered
What are you up
something
to?
that terrified the most powerful government on Earth so badly that they decided ignorance was safer than knowledge. And maybe they were
I could
right.
also look at my
Maybe
iPad so I can
shouldn't
see
be
better.
telling you this. Maybe you should keep listening. But it's too late now.
Oh my God! How'd you break your foot? Sorry to hear that.
Let me back up
Hope
a
you
little
get better.
and tell you how I even heard about Holloway in the first place. Like I said, I've been working on this Apollo
Guys, if you're here,
for about 4 months.
definitely check the description of my page. It's one sentence. Basically, all it says is like, I go to the top 10 best college in America.
Not the astronauts everyone knows, not Buzz Aldrin or
But I do stream for like,
guys, but the engineers, the support crew.
I do all kind of streams since I work from home and I study from home and stuff like that. Basketball game? Ooh. What happened? Like, what did you break? Oh, you broke your foot.
California. Good material. Solid
That sounds
stories, but
crazy.
I'll be honest, it was all starting to feel a bit samey. Everyone had the same kind of story. We worked hard. We believed in the mission. It was the greatest achievement of mankind. All true, all important, but not exactly gripping television. I needed something different, something with an edge. That's why I was in Houston that night. I spent the day at the Johnson Space Center archives, going through old mission footage. When I was tired and bored and ready for a beer, there's this dive bar.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to go on live stream to play my video game. It's a game stream, basically.
But it's where a lot of NASA old timers hang out. The walls are covered with signed photographs.
My left foot on the.
I've been there twice before doing research.
Oh my God! What's up, Savage? That's crazy. Guys, don't forget to like, but mostly share the page.
Ordered a burger and a beer. Sat at the bar and scrolled through my phone. Wasn't looking for anything particular. Just decompressing. Then this guy sits down next to me, maybe mid-70s, wearing a faded NASA polo shirt that had seen better days. He orders a whiskey, neat, and I can tell by the way the bartender pours it without asking that this is a regular occurrence. I didn't think much of it at first. Houston's full of old NASA guys, especially around JSC. But then he looks over at me and says, "You're that documentary kid, right? Saw you here last month."
Cross a little bit more. See my Wolverine. Pretty good there. I don't know which one's my favorite, but hey guys, how you guys doing? I'm just a streamer, going attending the top 10 best colleges in America. I'm just recording, like vlogging, like my whole life doing it.
My documentary, how Houston had changed. He was on his third whiskey by then, and getting more talkative. That sweet spot of drunk where people tell you things they probably shouldn't. I wasn't trying to interview him or anything. I was just making conversation. But he seemed lonely, and I'm a decent listener.
I'm about to play my favorite game out of all the games I have.
Says, "You know what your problem is with this documentary? You're talking to all the wrong people."
Guys, life is not just about a business. But everybody knows in America that America is a business. But it's also about connections. Might as well subject to that. I've only been live for 5-10 minutes. I've already had like at least one subscriber per minute. That's a lot. I usually like get like 2,000 viewers when I'm live streaming per day. So that's like over 10,000. That's like 40,000 a month. That's a lot. And I just started doing this a couple weeks ago. But yeah, people actually like, and I've had videos go viral. So I've had videos get like 20, 30 million views. About to set up my gaming stream right now. These are my fidget toys. If you guys check the link in the bio, you can see I have fidget toys for sale. They're actually mine. Everyone goes, "Oh, but you sell because of Amazon." I'm like, bro, the only way you could even sell for Amazon is if you get invited. They're like, "Oh." I'm like, bro, I got invited because I hit millions of views. Who's gonna give you a business to sell if you got nobody looking at you? So I had 1/10 of Americans looking at me. Amazon said, "All right, Leonitrous, if you want, you can sell people's products. You can do whatever you want, however you're gonna do it, and you get paid." So I said, "All right, I'm gonna do it." And then I ended up making my own business, selling my fidget toys. And it's in the link is in the description of my page. However you want to see it. I'm going live right now. I'm about to get the headphones and stuff like that.
I saw him before and after, and it was like looking at two different people. I was hooked. I asked Tommy how I could
Let's
find
get the volume going.
No idea.
Alright, we are connected, my friend. Let's
Colorado or Montana or someplace like
connect
that.
the desktop.
Hasn't talked to anyone from NASA in decades. Won't do interviews, won't come to reunions. Nothing.
Hello.
Few people have tried to track him down over the
Alright,
years, but he doesn't want to be found. I asked why. Tommy looked at me for a long moment. And his
Again, it's
expression
who
was
you know.
strange. Pity, maybe, or concern.
Not
Because whatever
what you
he
know.
knows, he doesn't want to know it anymore.
So
If you find him and he tells you, you won't want to know it either. Then he stood up, dropped $40 on the bar, and walked out without saying goodbye.
Hello.
I sat there for another
Hold
hour,
on.
nursing
I don't know
my
why.
beer and trying to decide if I had just wasted 20 minutes on a drunk old man's paranoid
What are you guys up
fantasy.
to?
But I couldn't stop thinking about that name, Richard Halloway, an astronaut with no missions, a man who didn't want to be found. I went back to my hotel that night and did what any documentarian would do. I started digging, and that's when things got weird. because Tommy was right. Richard Halloway was an astronaut. That much was documented. NASA's official records listed him as part of the astronaut corps from 1971 to
How you guys doing today?
1974.
How you doing
There were a
today?
few photographs, always in the
Just
background,
started
with
streaming
shots, never front and center.
5
A
minutes ago.
service record showing he'd been a Navy pilot, flew F-4
you got
Phantoms off the
teams.
USS Constellation, logged over 200 combat missions. After Vietnam, he went to the Naval Test Pilot School, which is where NASA recruited most of their
Yeah.
astronauts from.
I'll tell
All
people.
of that checked
You
out.
might as well sub.
Here's what didn't.
Bro.
There was no record of him flying any missions. Not Apollo, not Skylab, nothing. His astronaut biography was basically blank. Most
ready.
astronauts from that era have detailed histories. You can find
I
out
mean,
what backup crews they were
brightness is a
on,
little.
what training they did, what their specialties were. Halloway, nothing. Just
Alright, let's go back to the internet of things.
1974, and then retired for
We
medical
want to do
reasons.
this.
No
We
details,
want to do
no
God.
explanations.
You
For comparison, I looked up other astronauts from the same era. Pages and pages of information. Halloway had maybe 3 paragraphs total, and most of it was about his Navy career before
Hey guys,
NASA.
what's up?
The
What's
more I
up?
looked, the weirder it got. No interviews, which was unusual, but not unheard of. Some astronauts valued their privacy, but also no books, no documentaries, no quotes in articles, nothing. It was like after 1974, he just vanished from public record. I found one article from a Houston newspaper in 1973 mentioning him attending some NASA
How you guys doing? Check
and
that
was
pin
it.
message. It's
Most
literally 4
astronauts
words.
from that era,
About to
even
go
the ones who never
live.
flew, at least show up in space
Go
history. They
live.
give talks at schools.
Hey guys,
They
just pin
appear in
message there.
museums. They're part of the community. Halloway was a ghost. I
Alrighty.
spent 3 days trying to find any current information about him. Social media was a dead end, obviously. The guy would be in his 80s now. Not exactly the Facebook generation. I tried veteran databases. Nothing. I tried property records, which is technically public information but takes some digging. Finally, on day 4, I found something. A property listing in rural Colorado. County records showing Richard D. Halloway, born 1942, owner of 40 acres, 40 miles northwest of Boulder. No phone number listed, but at least I had a location. Getting his phone number took another week and a half, and I'm not going to explain exactly how I
I'm
did
about
it because
to go
it
live
involved
right now.
calling in a favor
Click the
from someone
button.
who probably shouldn't have helped me.
Right
But
there.
eventually
You got
I
it.
had it. A landline, which
What's
told
up
me
guys? How
something
you guys
right
doing? What
there.
you guys doing this
Who has a
weekend?
landline anymore?
Probably gonna end up going out in a little bit. Probably take a shower in like an hour or
I don't know
two.
why I was nervous. Maybe because Tommy's words kept echoing in my head. If he
Yeah,
kills you,
about to do
you
that.
won't want to know it either.
And like
Or
wait,
maybe
go
because I knew
streaming
somewhere
again.
deep down that making
I
this
do want to do
phone
workout
call
stream, so I'm
changed
probably gonna do my workout
I called on
stream.
Tuesday afternoon. It rang.
Yeah, we're probably gonna do that.
8 times.
I don't
I
know.
was about to hang up when someone picked up. Didn't say hello. Didn't identify
I do want to go
himself,
out tonight
just
though.
yes. The voice was rough, deep, like someone who'd smoked for 40 years, or screamed until his vocal cords gave out. I introduced myself, said I was
Alright, let's
making
start
a
a game.
documentary
We
about
are live.
Halloway,
What's up guys? How you guys
mentioned that
doing?
Tommy Reed
Let's
had
get it,
given
let's get it,
his
let's
name.
go.
Long silence. I could hear breathing. Then, Tommy talks too
Guys,
much
welcome,
when he
welcome,
drinks.
welcome.
Another pause. Why do you want to talk to me, Mr. Mercer? And just like that, I knew I'd found something real. The drive to
2
Colorado
subscribers in
was
5
8
minutes.
hours.
Not bad,
I had
not
a lot
bad.
of time to think. Too much time, honestly.
It's like
I kept
4.
running through what I
Rounding
knew
up and
about
down.
Halloway, which wasn't much, and what Tommy had said, which was even less. Part
That's
of me
not
kept
that
expecting
bad. That's
for
like
the
saying I'm
calls
getting
telling me not to
a
come,
subscriber
but to
per minute.
arrive and find the
Like
place
imagine I was
empty.
online for like 10
Somehow a
hours.
prank or misunderstanding.
That would be like
But the GPS
10,000
led me
subs.
exactly where it was supposed to. Off Highway
That's a lot of
36,
people that like me.
then onto a county road, then onto a dirt road that barely deserved the name. The last 10 miles was slow going, my rental car bouncing over ruts and rocks, pine trees pressing in on both sides so thick they blocked out most of the afternoon sun. I passed 2 houses in those 10 miles. Both looked abandoned. This was the kind of isolated that makes you understand why people become preppers or hermits. You could disappear out here and nobody would know for weeks. Maybe that was the point. The GPS announced I'd arrived, but I couldn't see anything
Put
at
some
first.
Gucci cologne
Then I
on real
spotted a
quick.
narrow driveway.
I'm probably gonna go out just like this, but not right now.
Leading off to the right. I turned in and drove another quarter mile through the trees until the cabin came into view. It was smaller than I expected. Single story, log construction, maybe 200 square feet. But it was well maintained. The logs were treated and sealed. The roof looked new. The small porch was swept clean. There was a vegetable garden on one side. Neat rows with wire fencing to keep animals out. A chopping block survivalist shack. Someone lived here deliberately, carefully. I parked next to an old Ford F-150.
Let's get it, let's go.
Probably from the 90s, but clean and cared for. Took a deep breath.
Why don't I
This
hear
was
the
it.
game?
I got out of the car and immediately noticed how quiet it was. No traffic sounds, no planes, no human noise at all. Just wind through the pines and somewhere far off a bird calling. It was the kind of silence that makes you aware of your own heartbeat. I barely closed my car door when the cabin's front door opened. He'd been watching for me. Colonel Richard Holloway stepped out onto the porch, and my first thought was, he looks normal. I don't know what I'd been expecting. Someone wild-eyed and paranoid maybe, or frail and confused. But Holloway looked like exactly what he was. An 81-year-old man who took care of himself. He was tall, maybe 6'1", with white hair cut military short. He wore jeans, work boots, and a plain gray army shirt. His posture was straight, his movements deliberate. The only thing that seemed off was his eyes. They were pale blue, sharp and intelligent, but there was something behind them. Exhaustion, maybe, or the kind of weariness.
Guys, I'm live on 2 different channels. I'm sorry, forget that, I said that. So I'm live on 2 different cameras, but the same YouTube. So I'm live on 2 different streams basically, but on the same YouTube.
You came alone? I confirmed I had. He looked past me at my car like he was checking for other vehicles or people. Satisfied, he nodded. No recording devices? No phone recording?
So you guys can literally click on my page right now, and you can see me live.
Leave it in the car if you want. Consider this. No, keep it. Just don't use it. If I see you reach for it, this conversation ends. Understood? I said yes. He studied my face for another long moment, then stepped aside. Come in. I made coffee. It wasn't an invitation so much as a command, but I took it. I followed him inside, and the door closed behind me with a solid thunk that made the silence.
You a fucking cheater, bro. This guy says cheating, and he's weak as fuck.
From the outside, clean, organized, minimal. The main room was open concept. Kitchen on one side, living area on the other. Wood-burning stove in the corner. Still radiating heat from an earlier fire. Furniture was simple and functional. A couch, 2 chairs, a coffee table made from a thick slab of wood. No TV that I could see.
Double upstairs, let's go. Actually, he's weak as fuck, but I got 1 kill. Let's go.
A surprising amount of philosophy. But what caught my attention were the walls. They were covered with photographs, maybe 30 or 40 of them, all NASA related. Launch photos, mission control rooms, astronauts in training.
They're all in the back of the house, as you guys know.
Gene Cernan, Jim Lovell, Alan Shepard. Some of the photos had people in them I didn't recognize, probably engineers or support staff. But I looked carefully.
I'm going in now.
Couldn't find a single photograph of Holloway himself. Not one.
Come on, God. Yo, y'all cheating and losing, bro. Like, how you justify?
I wanted to prove he'd existed there without actually showing his own face. Holloway poured coffee from a percolator on the stove, handed me a mug.
Alright, guys, they're running in 2s. They're running in 2s.
We sat down, him in one chair.
I'm running with this guy right now.
The coffee was strong, almost.
Come on, bro. Good shit, good shit. We can catch up. We can catch up like that. Good shit.
In silence, him watching me trying not to
I'm
look
with
as
this guy right
nervous
here.
as I felt. Finally, I broke the ice.
Good,
Started
good.
with safe topics. Mentioned the drive up was beautiful. Asked how long he lived here. 23
We're gonna catch
years.
up. We already started.
Bought the land in 2002. Built the cabin myself over 2 summers. I asked if he liked the isolation.
Oh, let's go. They don't want it, bro. Right there, see?
And I like that.
Told you.
Bothers me. Usually,
They want to run in 2s, then we can run in 2s. Look, they're doing it again, same spot. Which is the front of the house, actually. I'm gonna run with these guys here, guys. Let's go. Good shit. Good shit. Another one right here. Oh, you need to learn.
A geologist who trained Apollo 15. Just dropping names, trying to establish credibility, show that I was serious and respectful
Another one?
of the history.
See, we catching up, see?
Nodding occasionally,
See?
sipping his
Good
coffee.
shit.
He wasn't rude.
I'm running with
but he
this dude
also
right here.
wasn't engaged. It was like he was waiting for me to finish
Got
the
him.
small talk so we could get to
Overdrive
the real reason
activated.
I was here.
Good
After
shit. Let's
about
do
10
it. With
minutes
2s.
of
They
this,
want
I
2s. I
ran
got
out of steam.
both.
The conversation died. We sat there in silence again, and I realized I'd been doing all the talking. Holloway hadn't volunteered anything about himself.
Got you, twin.
Hadn't
Got
asked
you,
any
twin.
questions. Hadn't given me any openings. He was evaluating me.
70 to 80.
Trying to decide if I
Let's
could be
go.
trusted with
75 to
whatever it was
74.
Tony thought I should know. I decided to just go for it. Asked him directly, Colonel Holloway, Something about Apollo that didn't make it into the official
3 kills in the middle, 3 kills in the house, in the middle. Let's go. See how we doing, guys? Good shit. There's another one, there's another one. It's coming into the middle of the house.
But now he's right-handed.
Come on, Twin, we got this. You saw what happened.
It looked like an unconscious gesture of something he did without thinking. A nervous habit, maybe. Or a comfort.
Yep, they keep coming to the middle. I just got another kill.
15 seconds.
I got 5 kills just now. Like, what, 10 seconds?
Place both hands
Come through, come through.
like he was bracing
They
himself.
got me.
Mr. Mercer, he said slowly.
See, we catching them, guys. Look, we just won. See that strategy work? They try to pull that up on us. I'm gonna go with my guy right here, Mr. Splinter. Let's go. We got this, bro. We got this, bro. They trying to pull up on us. I'm gonna pull up on them. And they in the middle of the grip. Pull up.
I don't think it should. He paused. But before I do, I need to
Oh,
know,
word?
are you
They're
prepared
all
to
in the
hear
back
something
wooden
that
house.
will change how you see everything? Because you can't unhear it. And once
Time to
you
get the
know,
big boy guns
you'll
out.
understand
I'm over here
why
with
I've
Sin.
been hiding out
Stim.
here for 23 years.
Stim me.
I told him yes.
Got you, bro. I'm
I
gonna pull
was
up on them.
prepared. I wasn't, but I said yes anyway. He nodded slowly, like he'd expected that answer, but didn't entirely believe me. Then he stood up, walked over to a closet near the kitchen, and pulled out a cardboard box. It was old, the kind of box you'd use for
Alright, we
storing
won it.
documents.
That's for sure. That
with a
strategy
lid that
fucked
fit
them
over
up.
the top. He set it on the coffee table between us, but didn't open it yet. Just looked at it like it contained something dangerous. In 1973, he said.
But yeah, hey, they must be back in the house and shit. Oh, in the back wooden house, I found one. He ran away from me. He went to the middle in the house. Oh, yep, he's alive. He's upstairs in the house. Welcome, guys. Welcome. We got this, guys.
Something there that we weren't supposed to find. Something that made NASA cancel every remaining Apollo mission immediately and permanently. He finally looked up at me. And his
Guys, I'm live on
expression
2 different
so
streams.
serious
Oh,
that
they
my
left.
stomach dropped. You asked me earlier if I liked the isolation. The truth is, I don't live out here because I like being alone. I live out here because
Yeah, bro.
I'm afraid of what might happen if I'm around too many people. Because of what I brought back with me.
Got you, see.
In that lunar
Whatever they're using, we got.
here, he tapped his temple. In my head. And I've been trying to forget it for 50 years. And
They're behind us, Master Splinter.
That's when I realized his
Be
hands
careful.
were shaking. I should have kept my mouth shut. That's what I keep thinking about now, 3 weeks later. I should have just sat there quietly and let Holloway tell his story at his own pace. But I was nervous. And when I'm nervous, I talk.
Alright, I'm with this dude
What
now.
came out of my mouth was
I got an
possibly
Archangel
the
just in case.
stupidest thing I could have said in that moment. Well, I said, trying to sound casual and optimistic. At least we're finally going back.
Pussy.
Right? Artemis program, SpaceX, all
bro.
these private companies. It's exciting. I mean, I can't wait to see people walking on the moon again.
God, another one. He's coming behind. Oh, he's halfway there by the back of the wood.
I realized I'd made a mistake. Holloway's whole body went rigid. He'd been holding his coffee mug, raising it toward his mouth, and it just froze there halfway. I could see his hands starting to shake. The dark, liquid trembling, tiny ripples
Pussies.
spreading across
They're all in the
surface.
back by the wooden
His eyes,
garage.
which had been tired but focused.
GG's, guys. Don't let him catch up like that.
Not unfocused exactly. More like he was seeing something I couldn't see. Something far away or deep inside his
Well,
own
we got
memory.
this, we got
The
this, we got
silence that
this.
followed was crushing. I'm not exaggerating. It was a silence that has weight, that presses down on you, and
Let's
makes
see.
you acutely
Got one in the middle of the
aware
house.
every
See if he'll
small
come back.
sound. The settling of the cabin's
Got another
doors,
one.
the wind outside, my own breathing.
So I got one in the middle, one's
Holloway just sat there,
yeah.
frozen, staring.
I don't even know if y'all can hear me right now because I can't hear the game.
For a second, I thought he might drop it, and I had this absurd instinct to reach out.
Was he in the middle?
But I didn't move.
Yeah.
Something told me that any
Not
movement
really.
right now would be the wrong move, so I waited.
Leonitrous on deck.
20, 30. I counted them in my head because I needed something to focus
But
on
he's
besides the
getting
noise.
all the kills in the middle of the
I
house.
had just broken something
Again,
fragile
all of
and
them.
important. Finally,
All of them in the
slowly,
middle of the house. Good shit, guys. They're scared. I'm going in
set
through
it
the back.
down on the side table with extreme care, like he didn't trust his hands. Then he placed both palms flat on his thighs, pressing down hard, trying to stop the shaking. It didn't work. When he finally spoke, his voice was different, quieter, strained, like each word cost him something
We got
to
this,
produce. Jake, he said.
I'm going
It was
under.
the first time he'd used my first name. We didn't stop going to the moon because we ran out of money. We didn't stop because the public lost interest. We didn't stop because we learned everything there was to learn. He paused, and I watched his jaw clench. We stopped because something up there made it very clear that we weren't welcome.
Yo, people are fucking funny.
Part of my brain was was trying to process it as
Let's see.
metaphor.
I got one upstairs in the rooms that is gonna come back,
The
but
dangers of space exploration.
GG's. I got the last kill, I think.
But the way he said it,
What's up, guys? Welcome.
the tremor in his hands that still had
So yeah, I'm live on 2 different streams, but the same YouTube. Why couldn't I hear them?
It came out
That's
wrong,
weird.
nervous and thin, and I regretted it immediately. That's a hell of a way to put it. You're saying, what, we found something? Like evidence of aliens, or I trailed off because Holloway was looking at me now, really looking at me, and his expression made my attempted laugh die in my throat. I'm not talking about finding old artifacts, Jake. I'm not talking about discovering fossils or ancient structures that prove someone was there a million years ago. I'm talking about something active, something that was there when we arrived, something that knew we were there. He leaned forward slightly, and I found myself leaning back.
I don't know if
You want to know why
I'm being heard by my chat.
Why I haven't spoken
Oh, hold on,
to
this is
anyone from
off.
NASA in decades. Why I refused every interview request,
sorry, guys.
every reunion invitation, every attempt to get me to
Let's
talk
go.
about my time in
Thank
the
you guys for
program.
the subs,
We
the new
didn't wait
subs.
for an answer,
Appreciate it.
because I can't pretend anymore. I can't
Mic
smile
check,
for
mic
cameras
check.
and talk about the wonder of space exploration and the courage of astronauts.
Guys, check my new fidget toys that I personally sell.
I should have been skeptical. I should have been thinking about
Link in the bio.
dementia, about PTSD, about the psychological effects of isolation, but I wasn't. Something about the way Holloway spoke, the absolute
Supposedly, like, they help
conviction
you
in his voice,
focus and
the
stuff
details
like
he
that.
hadn't even given me yet. It bypassed my rational brain and went straight to some deeper instinct. The instinct that knows when someone is telling the truth, even if the truth sounds impossible. Colonel Holloway, I said carefully, what exactly did you see? He stood up abruptly, walked to the window, looked out at the pine
Mic
trees,
check.
kept his back to me. I saw what happens when human beings go somewhere they
I
shouldn't.
can't hear the
When
game.
they
Why?
touch something they shouldn't touch. When they attract attention they shouldn't attract. He was quiet for a moment, and I saw what happens to a man when something decides to study him the same way he was trying to study it. He turned back to face me, and I swear to God, his eyes
Mic
looked
check. I
different.
don't think anybody
Not
can hear me.
physically, but the expression in them. It was fear.
Let me see.
Pure, undiluted fear that
Let
hadn't
me go
faded
here.
even after 50 years. In September 1973,
Well, I'm the only one
he
watching
set
mic
out
check. I don't think anybody can
he
hear
flew
me.
a mission that officially never happened. Apollo 19, 3-man crew, Commander James Davis, Command Module Pilot Michael Chen, and me as Lunar Module Pilot. The mission was classified at the highest levels. The objective was classified. The results were classified. Everything about it was buried so deep that even most NASA personnel don't know it existed. But it happened, Jake. I was there. I spent 4 days on the lunar surface, and what I experienced there, what we all experienced there. He stopped, rubbed his face with both hands. Davis is dead.
I don't know if y'all can hear me or
Suicide, they
not.
said.
Alright.
I don't believe that. Chen disappeared in 1998. Just vanished. Never found. I'm the only one left who knows what really happened up there. And now I'm going to tell
Two
you.
under the bridge.
I realized I was holding my breath. I forced myself to exhale, to breathe normally. But my heart was hammering. This was it. This was what Tommy meant. This was the story. Why now? I asked. Why tell me after keeping it secret for 50 years? Holloway's laugh was bitter. Because I'm dying, Jake. Pancreatic cancer. Doctors give me maybe 6 months. And I've spent half a century keeping this secret because I was afraid of what would happen if I talked. Afraid they'd come for me the way they came for Davis. Afraid I'd end up like Chen. But I'm dying anyway now, so what does it matter? He walked back to his chair, sat down heavily. And because 3 weeks ago, I received something in the mail that made me realize the secret's not going to stay buried much longer anyway. Someone knows what happened up there. Someone knows I know. And they wanted me to know that they know. He reached for that cardboard box on the coffee table. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning. He opened the box. Inside were papers, photographs, what looked like official documents with heavy black redactions. He pulled out one photograph, held it up so I could see it. It was a lunar surface photo, clearly taken from orbit. I could see craters, the characteristic gray regolith, long shadows from mountains or ridges. But in the center of the image, in a relatively flat
They're all showing by
there
C.
were lines, geometric
Feel like
lines,
C.
too straight to be natural, too
Which is
regular
this
to be
building right
random.
here. Can don't
They
have this
formed
yellow
what looked
triangle.
almost
You
like a
guys can
grid
see it.
pattern, or maybe
They're all
writing
chilling
in
in
a
that
language I
building.
didn't recognize. Apollo 17 took this photo in December 1972, Holloway said.
Like they're very
They
weak
were
by the
doing
bridge
their
on top
usual
of it.
orbital surveys of the far side of the moon. When When they transmitted this back to Houston, it caused a shitstorm. People thought it was a camera defect, or maybe a processing error. So they took more photos on the next orbit. 3 hours later, same location. He pulled out another photograph. Same area, same craters, same mountains, but the lines had changed. They were in different positions now, forming a different pattern. That's when they knew it wasn't a camera defect. Something was drawing on the surface of the moon. Something was making marks that changed over time. And that's when Apollo 19 stopped being a canceled mission and became the most classified operation in NASA's history. Holloway set the two photographs on the coffee table between us, side by side. I couldn't stop staring at them.
Hey guys,
The
welcome.
lines were so clear,
Thank you for
so
joining.
deliberate. In the first photo, they formed what looked almost like a spiral pattern radiating from a central point. In the second photo, taken 3 hours later according to the timestamp in the corner, they rearranged into something more like a grid with diagonal crosshatching. The official story, Holloway said, his voice steadier now that he'd started talking, is that Apollo 18, 19, and 20 were cancelled in 1970 due to budget cuts and declining public interest. And that's partially true. Congress did cut funding. The public did stop caring as much after we'd already landed on the moon a few times. But what they don't tell you is that Apollo 18 and 20 were cancelled. Apollo 19 flew in September 1973, 18 months after these photos were taken. It was the most classified mission in NASA's history, more classified than the military satellite launches.
By the bus, I see two. I killed one.
He reached
Oh,
his
that's you, bro.
box
My
again
bad.
and pulled out what looked like a crew photograph. 3 men in NASA flight suits, standing in front of an American flag. I recognized the style immediately, the standard pre-mission crew portrait. The man on the left was Asian American, probably in his late 30s, serious expression. The man in the middle was taller,
False ass kill.
with the kind of face that looked like it belonged on a recruiting poster. And on the right was Holloway, 50 years younger, hair dark instead of white, with those same tired eyes. Commander James Davis, Holloway said, pointing to the middle man. Best pilot I ever flew with. Flew F-8 Crusaders in Vietnam. Test pilot at Patuxent River. Joined NASA in 1970. He was supposed to command Apollo 18 before it got canceled. When they reactivated the mission as Apollo 19, he was the obvious choice. He moved his finger to the left. Michael Chen, lunar module pilot turned command module pilot. MIT graduate, aeronautical engineer, could calculate orbital mechanics in his head. Quiet guy, but brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And you, I said, pointing to his younger self in the photo. Holloway nodded. Lunar module pilot. I trained for Apollo 18, so I already knew the systems inside and out. When they told us the mission was back on, I was excited. I thought we'd gotten lucky, that we'd get our chance to go to the moon after all. We trained for 6 months. Normal Apollo training at first, simulators, geology, all the standard stuff. But then in April 1973, about 5 months before launch, the changed. We started getting briefings from people we'd never seen before, not NASA personnel. Intelligence community, I think, though nobody would say officially. They showed us the photos, explained what Apollo 17 had seen, told us our mission
Right under the bridge is one.
He paused. The official classified objective, the one that would be in the mission documents if anyone ever found them, was to locate and recover technology from a crashed Soviet lunar probe. Luna 23 had crashed in November 1974, and the story was we were going to beat them to salvaging their own hardware. I interrupted, but that wasn't the real mission. It wasn't a question. Holloway shook his head. That was the cover story in case the mission leaked. If some journalist or foreign intelligence agency found out we'd launched a secret Apollo flight, that's what we'd tell them. Just Cold War competition. Standard spy versus spy stuff. But no, he tapped the photographs. The real mission was to investigate these markings, to land near them, document them up close, and if possible, determine what was making them. We spent months training for it. They brought in geologists, mathematicians, linguists, showed us dozens of photos of the marks from different angles, different times. The patterns kept changing.
All 3 of them on top of the
Never the
bridge.
same twice. Sometimes they were simple lines, sometimes complex geometric shapes. Once they formed what looked almost like a spiral galaxy. The people studying them couldn't agree on what they meant or what was making them, but everyone agreed on one thing. They weren't natural. The way Holloway talked about it, the specific details, the names, the timeline. This wasn't the rambling of a confused old man. This was the testimony of someone who lived through something real. I asked him how they kept it secret. A Saturn V launch isn't exactly subtle. You can't hide a rocket that tall. Holloway smiled, but there was no humor in it. That's the genius of it. They didn't hide the launch. They just changed what they said it was. The official announcement was that we were launching Skylab 4, a resupply mission to the space station. Used a smaller rocket, Saturn IB, except we didn't. We launched on a Saturn V from Pad 39A on September 2nd, 1973.
Wow.
But the launch was classified, restricted access to the Cape. The few people who saw it assumed it was a military satellite. And by 1973, most people weren't paying attention to space launches
That was
anymore.
bad,
We
guys.
weren't Armstrong and Aldrin. We were just three guys nobody had heard of going somewhere everyone thought we'd already been. I asked how they explained the mission once they were in space. They didn't, Holloway said. As far as the public knew, nothing was happening. Radio communications were encrypted and sent to a classified ground station, not Houston. Or rather, a classified section of Houston that didn't officially exist. We had a small team of controllers who knew the real mission, maybe 20 people total. Everyone else at NASA thought we were just running training simulations.
I don't think they can hear me.
The Apollo was already over, publicly. Nobody was paying attention. Nobody was asking
Oh,
questions.
shit.
We launched, we flew to the moon, we landed, and the world had
I
no
feel like
idea
restarting
we were
the
even
game.
there. He leaned back in his
I
chair.
don't know why I
The
can't hear
transit
it.
was normal. 3 days to the moon, standard trajectory. Chen stayed in orbit in the command module. Davis and I took the LM down to the surface. We landed in a valley on the far side, about 30 kilometers from where Apollo 17 had photographed those markings. Far side of the moon means no direct communication with Earth. Everything had to relay through Chen orbiting overhead, the far side of the moon. I knew enough about Apollo to understand what that meant. When you're on the far side, Earth is behind the moon, blocked from view. You're completely cut off except for brief windows when the command module passes
Alright, I
overhead.
get it.
It's one of the most isolated places a human being can be. We touched down on September 6th, 1973, at 09:47 hours mission time, Holloway said. And I noticed he remembered the exact time. The landing was perfect. Davis set us down so gently I barely felt it. We did our post-landing checks, got suited up, and I was the first one out. You know that famous line Armstrong said, "One small step"? I didn't say anything. Nobody was listening except Davis and Chen anyway. I just climbed down the ladder and stepped onto the surface.
Should be good now.
He stopped, and his eyes went distant.
Let me see.
It looked exactly like I'd expected. Gray
Can you guys hear me or not?
black sky, harsh shadows. The sun was at about 30 degrees above the horizon. Morning light. Everything looked normal. Felt normal. I took some photos. Collected our first samples. Davis came down about 20 minutes later. We planted the flag. Took the obligatory photos. All the stuff every Apollo crew did. But something was wrong, I said. It wasn't a question. I could see it in his face. Holloway nodded slowly. Not at first. The first day was routine. We set up experiments, collected samples, stayed close to the LM. But that night, first sleep period, I was lying in my hammock trying to rest, and I heard something. He paused. You have to understand, sound doesn't travel in a vacuum. There's no air. You shouldn't be able to hear anything outside the LM except through radio. But I heard something. Not through my ears. Through the hull. A vibration. Very faint. Very low frequency. Almost below the threshold of hearing. Just thud, thud, thud. Regular. Like a heartbeat.
But he's weak led on the top, across from satellite, good
I
shit.
asked Davis if he heard it. He said yes. We checked all our systems. Thought maybe it was a mechanical issue. Some pump or fan making noise. But everything checked out. The sound wasn't coming from us. He rubbed his hands together. That nervous gesture I noticed earlier. We reported it to Chen on the next call pass. He relayed it to Houston. They told us it was probably our imagination or stress. They told us to get some sleep, but neither of us slept that night. We just lay there listening to that thud, thud coming through the walls. The second day on the surface started like any other Apollo mission. We woke up or pretended to wake up since neither of us had really slept. Did our morning checks, got suited up again. The plan was to do our first extended EVA, head out about 2 kilometers toward the area where the markings had been photographed. But first we had to set up the ALSET, the Apollo Lunar Surface Experiments package. Every mission planted one. It's a collection of scientific instruments that measure seismic activity, solar wind, heat flow, that kind of thing. Davis and I had done this 100 times as a trainer. We knew the procedure cold, except when we started setting it up, something felt off. I can't explain it just wrong. The dust beneath my boots felt different than it should have. When you walk on the moon, the dust doesn't behave like sand on Earth. There's no air, no moisture, nothing to make it stick together. It's more like powder. When you step in it, it compresses, but it stays exactly where you left it. Your footprints are perfect, crisp, permanent. They'll last millions of years because there's no wind or weather to erase them. But our footprints weren't staying crisp. I noticed it first around the LM landing pads. We'd made dozens of trips back and forth between the LM and the Alcep site, maybe 50 meters away. Each time I walked past a certain spot, I noticed my previous footprints looked softer, like someone had taken a brush and gently smoothed them, not erased them completely, just blurred the edges. I mentioned it to Davis. He'd noticed it too. Yeah, he said over the radio. It's weird. Maybe it's the way the sunlight's hitting them, making them look different. We talked about it for a few minutes, trying to rationalize it. Maybe the dust here had a different composition. Maybe the static electricity was affecting it somehow. But neither explanation really made sense. Then Davis said something that was supposed to be a joke, but neither of us laughed. It's like the moon is trying to erase our footprints, like beach sand smoothing over where you walked. I remember stopping what I was doing and looking back at our trail, and I swear the footprints 50 meters behind us.
Hey guys, I'm live on 2 different streams, same YouTube.
We finished setting up the Alcep and activated it. The seismometer was the main instrument we cared about. It's designed to detect moonquakes, meteor impacts, any vibration of the lunar surface. We turned it on, let it calibrate, then waited for the first data transmission. Houston was
Somebody
supposed
right
to
there,
receive the
pinned on that
telemetry
yellow
from
triangle.
Chen when he passed overhead, then relay any anomalies back to us. We moved on to our next task, collecting geological
same
samples
spot
from
as
some
another one.
interesting rocks
Different.
near a small crater. But I kept thinking about those footprints,
No
about
ties,
the
no
thud, thud,
ties.
thud sound we'd heard through the hull the night before, about how quiet everything was, except for our breathing and the crackle of the radio. Davis and I worked in silence for maybe 20 minutes.
Bro's not
Then
coming
Chen's
up on
voice
me
came
like that.
through.
They're behind the satellite. Let's go, let's
Columbia
go.
to Tranquility Base. That was our call sign. Tranquility Base. A little nod to Apollo 11. Davis responded.
Whole lie,
Go
bro.
ahead, Columbia.
That's a
Chen's
whole
voice
lie.
was professional, controlled, but I could hear something underneath it. Confusion, maybe, or concern. Houston is asking about your seismometer readings. They're showing regular vibrations, very regular. They want to know if you're doing some kind of equipment test. Davis and I looked at each other through our helmets. Negative, Columbia. Davis said. Seismometer should just be in passive monitoring mode. We haven't touched it since activation. Silence for a moment while Chen relayed that. Then, copy. Houston says the vibrations are approximately 0.3 on the Richter scale. Regular intervals, 90 seconds apart. They're asking if you're experiencing any physical sensation, any vibration through your suits or boots. And that's when I felt it. Or maybe I'd been feeling it the whole time and only noticed it when Chen mentioned it. Through the soles of my boots, through the layers of insulation and material, I could feel the faintest pulse. Thud. Wait. 90 seconds. Thud. It was the same thing we heard through the hull, except now we were standing on the surface and it was coming up through the ground itself. Affirmative.
They're all over there.
I said, and my voice sounded strange
Got
in
one.
my own ears.
Rocket.
We can feel
There's like 3 or 4 over there.
like a heartbeat. Very slow, very faint, but it's there. Another silence. Longer this time. When Chen came back, his voice was tight. Houston confirmed.
He's a
They're
big
saying
cross
it's
from a
probably
satellite.
tectonic activity, some kind of moonquake. They want you
The
to
other little
proceed with the
dugout.
mission as planned, but keep them updated if the intensity changes. Davis and I stood there for a moment.
We wouldn't
just
end up
feeling
sniping,
that
bro.
pulse
Like,
come up from the
savage,
ground.
bro.
Thud. 90 seconds. Thud. You know what
One over
bothers me?
there, pinned on
Davis
map.
said quietly. Moonquakes aren't regular like this. They're random, triggered by tidal stress from Earth or thermal expansion or meteor impacts. They don't pulse at perfect 90
Over there.
second
There he is. In front of you.
I knew he was right.
Good shit.
I studied lunar seismology as part of our
GG's, bro.
training.
We really,
The moon is geologically
I'm sniping
dead,
and I'm like,
almost
whatever
dead.
type of
It
ride
has
that I'm
small
doing so good.
quakes, but they're
Well, the
not
team
rhythmic.
is, we
They
doing
don't
better,
have a
but we're
pattern.
losing.
This had a pattern. This felt deliberate. But what the hell could cause a pulse in a dead rock? We didn't say what we were both thinking. That it sounded like something breathing. That it sounded like the moon itself had a heartbeat. We just went back to collecting samples, trying
Over
to
there,
focus
there's
on the
one.
mission, trying not to think about what we were standing on. By the third EVA,
Alright, bro.
later
What's
that
up, what's
same
up?
day, we'd covered about 1.5 kilometers from the LM. We were making good progress toward
I'm
the area where
mute.
markings had been photographed.
Hold on.
The plan was to
I'm in the
reach
middle
them
of a
on day
game.
3, which would give us a full day
Let me
to
check.
document and study them before we had to launch back to orbit. Everything was going according to schedule, but the weirdness kept
I'm not mute.
accumulating. Little things that individually didn't
I'm
mean
not
much,
mute.
but together
Just
started
restart your app.
picture we didn't want to look at.
I'm in the middle
The
of the
dust
game.
thing got worse. We marked our path with small flags, standard procedure, so you can find your way back. But when we looked behind
Yeah.
us, the flags seemed farther apart than they should be, like the distance between them had increased. Davis measured it with a laser rangefinder. The distances were correct, but visually, perceptually, something was off. My depth perception is screwed up, Davis said. Must be the light angle or something. But we both knew it wasn't that. We trained for the light
Behind the
conditions.
satellite.
We knew what to expect. Then there were the shadows. Shadows on the moon are pitch black because there's no atmosphere to scatter light. They're sharp, well defined. But some of the shadows we saw didn't match the terrain. I'd look at a boulder, and its shadow would be the right general shape, but the edges would be wrong. Too soft in some places, too sharp in others. And once, I swear to God, I saw a shadow move, just slightly. Just a tiny shift when I wasn't looking directly at it. I told myself it was my imagination, that my eyes were tired, that the suit helmet was distorting my peripheral vision. But then, Davis saw it too. We were standing next to a large rock, taking samples, and he suddenly grabbed my arm. Did you see that? I asked him what. That shadow, behind that ridge at 2 o'clock. It moved. I looked. The shadow was still. Exactly where a shadow should be for that ridge at this sun angle. I don't see anything.
Right in that building is too.
Davis
I got a
didn't
rocket.
respond for a moment. Then, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just tired. But his voice said he didn't believe that. We got back to the LM around 1800 hours mission time. End of our second day. We were exhausted. 6 hours in those suits. In 1/6 gravity, collecting samples and setting up equipment. We went through decontamination procedures. Got
One
out of the
shot,
suits,
man.
ate our
First time I got
prepackaged
that.
food without tasting it. The plan was to sleep for 8 hours, then start day 3 with the long EVA to the marking site. But I already knew I wasn't going to sleep. That thud 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 was still there, coming through the hull. We'd been
Up there,
hearing it
there's
for
one
24 hours.
satellite right
It
behind
never
it.
stopped. It never changed rhythm. 90 seconds, every time. I tried to time my breathing to it, thinking maybe if I synced up with it somehow, it would be less disturbing. That didn't work. Davis sat in his hammock, staring at the ceiling. You know what really bothers me? He said after a while. I asked what? We've been here 2 days. We've walked all over this area. We've disturbed the dust, moved rocks, planted equipment. But when I look out the window, he pointed. I looked. Through the small triangular window, I could see the lunar surface, our equipment in the distance, the tracks we've made. The dust looks pristine, like nobody's been here. I got up, looked closer. He was right. The area around the outset, where we walked back and forth a dozen times, should have been completely churned up, but it looked almost undisturbed. I could see some tracks, some evidence of our presence, but it was faint, much fainter than it should be. Maybe it's the lighting, I said, but I didn't believe it. Yeah, Davis said. Maybe. We sat in silence for a while. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. Dick, have you noticed we haven't seen any stars? I thought about it. The moon has no atmosphere, which means the stars should be incredibly bright and clear, visible even during the lunar day. But I couldn't remember seeing it.
Holy
The sky was
shit.
black, like it should be, but it was empty. No stars.
I still can't
No
hear the
Earth,
game.
since we were on the
Maybe if
far
I
side.
restart it
Just
or
black.
something.
Equipment malfunction? I suggested. Our helmet visors filtering something out. Davis shook his
Doesn't
head.
restart
I looked
the
with
game because
naked
I can't
eye
hear
through the
anything.
window. No stars. We didn't talk about it anymore that night. We just lay there in our hammocks, listening to that thud, 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 watching the chronometer count down the 90 seconds between each pulse. And somewhere around midnight mission time, I realized the truth that neither of us wanted to say out loud. Whatever was making that sound knew we were there, and it was waiting. Day 3, September 8th, 1973. That's the day everything changed. That's the day I stopped being an astronaut and became something else. A witness, maybe, or a survivor. I don't know. Davis and I woke up after another sleepless night, went through our routine, suited up. The plan was ambitious. A 6-hour EVA covering the remaining distance to the marking site, approximately 2 kilometers northwest of our landing zone. Houston had been very clear about the objectives. Document everything, photograph from multiple angles, collect samples if possible. But under no circumstances were we to make direct contact with the markings themselves until we understood what we were dealing with. Standard scientific protocol. Look, but don't touch. We loaded up our toolkits, checked our life support systems, and headed out. The sun was higher now, about 45 degrees above the horizon. The shadows were shorter. Everything looked clearer, sharper, and that somehow made it worse. The walk took about 90 minutes, moving carefully, taking photos and samples along the way. We documented everything like good astronauts: rock formations, crater measurements, dust composition samples. But the whole time, I felt like we were walking towards something. Not just a destination, but something that was aware of our approach. I know how that sounds. Paranoid, delusional. But you have to understand, we've been listening to that pulse for 2 days straight. Thud, thud, thud. Every 90 seconds. It wasn't just sound anymore. It was in our heads. I'd catch myself timing my steps to it. Davis was doing the same thing. We were synchronizing with it without meaning to. And as we got closer to the marking site, the pulse felt stronger. Not louder exactly, more present. Like we were walking toward the source of a heartbeat and getting close enough to feel it in our chests. Chen did a compass about halfway through the walk. Columbia to Tranquility Base, you're looking good from up here. All telemetry nominal. Houston says, keep up the good work. His voice sounded so normal, so human. It reminded me there was still a world where things made sense. We reached the crater rim at 10:47 hours mission time.
Still don't
I
work?
remember the exact time because I checked my chronometer right
I
before
just
we looked over
restarted the
edge.
computer,
I
everything.
remember thinking, this is it. This is the moment we've been training
Hold
for.
on, let me switch
This
this
is why
headphone.
we're here. We approached carefully,
Hey guys, welcome.
stayed low like we'd been taught. Didn't want to kick up dust that might obscure our view. We got to the edge, and we looked down. I stopped walking.
What the hell?
Davis did the same. For maybe 30
Yo.
seconds, we just stood there, completely silent,
Alright,
staring.
connect the other
Then
headphone,
Davis
maybe
said,
that's what it is.
very quietly, Houston is not going to believe this. I couldn't speak. My brain was trying to process what my eyes were seeing, and failing completely. The crater was maybe 300 meters in diameter, not
Let's see
huge
if it
by lunar
works.
standards. But inside it, rising from the crater floor, were structures. Not natural formations, not rocks. Structures. Alloway stopped talking. His hands were shaking again, worse than before.
Alright,
He gripped
didn't
the arms
connect.
of his chair so hard his knuckles went
Hello?
white.
Hello?
I waited,
Hello?
didn't say anything. Just let him work through whatever memory he was reliving. After maybe a minute, he continued. His
Whoa,
voice
whoa.
strained.
Yo.
Geometric, Jake. Perfect geometry. Like someone had taken metal
Hello?
or crystal or something I couldn't even identify and built. I don't know what to call them. Towers, maybe? They rose from the crater floor at different heights. The tallest one was maybe 30 meters. The shortest about 10.
Yo.
There were 7 of them arranged in a pattern. Not random. Deliberate. And they were connected by these thin structures like bridges or conduits, forming a network. The whole thing looked like it could have been a communications array or some kind of observatory or I don't know. But it was clearly engineered, clearly built by something intelligent. He paused. And the color was wrong. Everything on the moon is gray. Different shades of gray, but gray. These things were silver, metallic. They reflected the sunlight, but not like metal reflects. More like they were generating their own light, or absorbing it and releasing it differently. I asked him what they did next. Holloway took a shaky breath. We took photos, lots of photos, different angles, different exposures.
Hello?
Davis was better at photography than me, so he took the lead. I just stood there staring. Then we transmitted everything back to Houston via channel. That took about 10 minutes uploading all the images through the relay. Then we waited 40 minutes. That's how long it took for the signal to reach Earth, for Houston to process it, for them to formulate a response, and for that response to come back. Longest 40 minutes of my life. We just sat there on the crater rim, looking at those structures, not talking. What was there to say? We just discovered proof of non-human intelligence. Proof that we weren't alone. That something else could build things, engineer things, create things. And it was right here on the moon, less than 400,000 kilometers from Earth. We should have been excited, thrilled. This was the discovery of the millennium. But I wasn't excited. I was terrified. Finally, Chen's voice came through. Tranquility Base, this is Columbia relaying from Houston. Long pause. I could hear him breathing. Houston has reviewed your imagery. They confirm structures appear artificial in origin. New mission parameters are as follows. Proceed with visual documentation from current position. Do not, repeat, do not approach or make physical contact with structures. Maintain minimum distance of 100 meters. Acknowledge. Davis acknowledged. Then he turned to me. I could see his face through his helmet visor. His expression was, I don't know, Determination, maybe. Or stubbornness. Dick, he said, we didn't come all this way to
So my
take
AirPods are
pictures from a
connected, but
ring.
I can't
We need to
hear
get closer.
nothing.
I told him Houston said no approach. Houston is 400,000
I can't
miles
talk
away,
right now.
Davis said. They're not here. We are. We need to document this properly. He started moving down into the crater before I could argue, so I followed. Because that's what you do. You follow your commander. The descent wasn't steep, maybe 20 degrees. We took it slow, testing each foothold. As we got closer, maybe 150 meters from the nearest structure, the details became clearer and more impossible. The structures had joints, connection points where the vertical towers met the horizontal bridges, but there were no seams, no welds, no bolts or fasteners. It looked like they'd been grown rather than assembled, or carved from a single piece of material, and that material, I'd never seen anything like it. It didn't look corroded or weathered, even though it had to have been exposed to micrometeorite bombardment and solar radiation for God knows how long. The surface was perfectly smooth, almost organic in the way it curved. And here's the thing that made my skin crawl. There was no dust on them. Everything on the moon gets covered in dust. It settles on everything, sticks to everything because of static electricity. But these structures were clean, like they repelled the dust, like the regolito wouldn't touch them. We got to about 80 meters before Houston came back. Houston advises immediate return to crater rim. Do not proceed closer. Acknowledge. Davis ignored them. We kept moving. 70 meters. 60. I could see my reflection in the surface of the nearest tower now. Distorted. Stretched. 50 meters. Tranquility Base. This is Houston. Acknowledge our last transmission. Davis reached out with his hand, like he was going to touch it. I grabbed his arm. Jim, maybe we should... But he pulled away. Kept walking. 40 meters, 30, and that's when I felt it. Not the 90-second pulse, something else. A vibration at a much higher frequency, almost beyond perception. It made my teeth hurt inside my helmet, made my eyes water. Davis felt it too. I saw him pause, put his hand to his helmet like he was trying to block out sound, even though sound doesn't travel through vacuum. 20 meters. Then Davis did something I'll never forgive him for. He reached out and touched the structure. Nothing happened. That's what was so strange. Nothing at all. His gloved hand made contact with the smooth metallic surface, and there was no spark, no shock, no reaction. It was just a touch. Davis laughed, nervous but relieved. It's just metal, Dick. Just some kind of alloy we don't recognize. Nothing to be afraid of. But he was wrong, because I saw it. Just for a fraction of a second. So brief I almost thought I imagined it. When his hand touched the surface, the whole structure pulsed. Not mechanically, not like a light turning on. More organic, like a muscle contracting, like it had been asleep and something just woke it up. The pulse traveled from the point of contact up the tower, across the bridge connections, into the other structures. One wave, one ripple, and then it was gone. The whole thing took maybe half a second. I asked Davis if he saw it. He said no, but I did. I saw that thing wake up, and I knew, right then, that we'd made a terrible mistake. That we just announced our presence to something that had been waiting, something that had been drawing patterns in the dust to see if anyone would notice, and we'd noticed. We'd come looking, and now it knew exactly where we were. We made it back to the LM around 1400 hours. The walk back felt longer than it should have, even though it was the same distance. Neither of us talked much. Davis was excited, energized even, talking about what we'd found and how it would change everything. But I couldn't share his enthusiasm. I kept thinking about that pulse I'd seen, that ripple that went through the structures when he touched them. I kept thinking about how we'd been drawn here, step by step, like something had been laying breadcrumbs for us to follow. The patterns in the dust, the regular pulse every 90 seconds, the structures themselves, visible from orbit but only if you knew where to look. It felt like a trap, but Davis wasn't listening to my concerns. He was already planning our next EVA, talking about getting closer, maybe collecting samples from the structures themselves. I told him that was a terrible idea. He told me I was being paranoid. Maybe I was. Maybe that pulse was just some kind of electromagnetic discharge, and I'd read too much into it. But I don't think so. We transmitted our full report to Houston through Chan. Took almost an hour to upload all the photos and data we collected. Then we waited for their response. It came 6 hours later, right before our scheduled sleep period. Tranquility Base, this is Houston. After reviewing your documentation and consulting with relevant personnel, mission extension is approved. You are cleared for an additional 24 hours on surface. Priority objective: comprehensive photographic documentation of structures from multiple angles and distance. Secondary objective: if safe approach is possible, collect samples of structure material using long-handled tools. Under no circumstances is direct physical contact authorized. Repeat, no direct contact. Mission Specialist Team is analyzing structural composition and will provide additional guidance on next pass. Well done, gentlemen. This is a historic discovery. Davis was thrilled. An extra day meant more time to study the structures, more time to figure out what they were. I felt sick. An extra day meant more time for whatever woke up when Davis touched it to figure out what we were. Day 4 started early. We both slept maybe 3 hours. That thud, thud, thud coming through the hull all night like it was getting louder, more insistent. But maybe that was just my imagination. Davis wanted to head back to the crater immediately, but Houston had other priorities first. They wanted us to check our equipment, make sure everything was functioning properly for the extended mission. Life support systems, power cells, communications array, standard stuff, but it took time. Then they wanted us to set up a second ALSEP station closer to the structures, get better seismic readings from multiple points. That was my job. Davis was tasked with returning to the crater for detailed photography, and if possible, using our sampling tools to collect pieces of the structure. We divided the workload. He'd go to the crater. I'd stay at the LM, do the maintenance work, set up the new ALSEP, and monitor communications. We'd maintain constant radio contact. Standard buddy system protocol, except we were splitting up. I didn't like it. I told Davis we should stay together. He said we'd lose too much time that way. He was right, objectively, but I still didn't like it. Davis headed out at 8:30 hours mission time. I watched him through the window, his white suit getting smaller as he walked northwest toward the crater. He was moving with purpose, confidence, maybe too much confidence. I went through my checklist, started the maintenance work, checked the reaction control system, verified fuel levels, tested backup systems. Everything was nominal. Davis checked in every 15 minutes like he was supposed to. Tranquility, this is Davis. Halfway to objective, all systems green. Then, tranquility, reaching crater rim now. Visibility is excellent. I can see all 7 structures clearly. Then, tranquility, descending to crater floor. Photos are going to be incredible from this angle. His voice was steady, professional, excited, normal. Everything was normal.
Alright, it's back.
For 2 hours, everything was completely normal. I finished
This,
the maintenance work, started prepping the equipment for the ALSEP setup. Chen did a compass, relayed some additional instructions from Houston. They wanted specific measurements, particular angles for photographs. Chen sounded good too. Everyone sounded good. Everything was going according to plan. Then at 10:47 hours, Davis's voice came through, and something in his tone made
You guys
me
hear me?
stop what I was doing. Tranquility. I'm getting some interesting readings down here. The structures. There's gaps between them.
Here, no.
Down at the
Can you
base
hear?
level,
No.
like passages or openings. Houston didn't mention anything about this in the
Hello?
photos. I looked at the mission clock, then pulled out our copies of the orbital
Hello?
photographs. He was right. From above, the structures looked solid
We're
at the
starting.
base, but apparently from ground level there were spaces, voids, entrances maybe. I told him to document, but maintain distance. Yeah, copy that, he said. But Dick, there's something here. One of the openings is larger than the others.
It's so
Dark
cold in
inside.
this room.
I can't see how deep it goes, but pause. It looks like it goes down.
Alright,
Underground, or under lunar, I guess. I told him again.
turn this off.
Visual documentation only.
Start.
Orders from Houston. I know, Davis said. I'm just saying. If there's something beneath the surface, we should know about it. Hang on, I'm going to get closer.
Alright, we're
Get a
good.
better angle for photos. Silence for maybe 30 seconds. Then, Dick, holy shit. That's what he said. Not Tranquility Base or Halloway.
What's up, guys?
These are my
We're back,
call
we're back,
sign and
we're back.
name like protocol
Oh,
required.
this was not supposed to be
Just
call
Dick.
study.
Holy shit. Like he forgot everything except what he was seeing. What is it? I asked. My hand was already reaching for my helmet, ready to suit up and go after him. Okay, it's hard to describe. Inside the opening, maybe 3 meters down, there's light. Not
Alrighty.
reflected light, not sunlight.
Let me
Light
see if I
coming
can hear
from
the
inside.
game.
It's faint,
Hello?
but it's definitely there. It's pulsing. I felt my stomach drop. Pulsing at 90-second intervals, I asked, even though I already knew the answer. Yeah, Davis said, his voice quiet now, awed or scared. Yeah, exactly that. Dick, whatever's making that sound we've been hearing, whatever's causing the seismic readings, it's down there. Under the surface, we have
Hello,
to...
hello.
I cut him off.
I don't hear nothing.
Negative, Davis.
Can you guys hear me?
Orders were
Mic check,
visual
mic check.
documentation only. Get your photos and get back here. We'll
I can't
report to
hear you
Houston,
guys.
let
Shit.
them decide next steps. Long
Seems like you
pause.
guys can hear me.
Too long. Davis, acknowledge. I said. Yeah, I acknowledge. He finally said. But I'm just going to take a quick look inside. 2 minutes, Dick. Just peek in and see what's down there. The photos from the rim aren't going to show anything useful. Negative, I said, and I could hear my voice getting louder. Jim, do not enter that structure. That's a direct order. Return to LM. But he'd already made his decision. I could hear it in his tone when he responded. Dick, we came here to investigate. We're investigators. If we don't look inside, someone else will have to come back and do it later. May as well be us. Then his voice shifted, went formal. Columbia, this is Davis. Be advised I'm conducting close-range inspection of structural opening at crater floor. Estimate 5 minutes for documentation, then returning to LM. Chen responded from orbit. Copy that, Davis. Houston is requesting you maintain safe distance and... But Davis cut him off. Signal's getting weak, Columbia. Going in for closer look. We'll report findings on next compass. And then quiet. See you in a minute, Dick. Don't worry so much. That was the last normal thing he said. I stood there in the LM, heart pounding, staring at the radio like I could will him to turn around through sheer force of thought. I should have gone after him. I should have suited up and run full speed to that crater, but I didn't. I stood there and waited. 30 seconds. 1 minute. 2 minutes. Davis, status report.
Triple.
I called. Nothing. Davis, acknowledge. Nothing. 3 minutes. 4 minutes. My hand was on my helmet now. 5 minutes. Jim, respond. This is Tranquility Base. Respond immediately. Nothing but static. I checked the chronometer. Started counting. 6 minutes. 7. At 8 minutes, I was in my suit, doing the fastest pre-EVA check in history. At 10 minutes, I was in the airlock, depressurizing. At 12 minutes, I was on the surface, running toward the crater, or trying to run. You can't really run in 1/6 gravity wearing a life support backpack, but I did my best, bounding forward in long leaps, kicking up dust, not caring about protocol or safety or anything except getting to Davis. At 14 minutes, his voice came through. Holloway, sorry about that. Radio had some kind of interference problem. I'm okay. Everything's fine. Heading back now. I stopped running. Stood there gasping for breath. My heart still racing. Jesus Christ, Jim. You scared the hell out of me. What happened? What did you see? Pause. A weird pause. Like he had to think about his answer. Nothing much, he said finally. Just more of the same. Rock formations, some interesting metallic deposits. I got some good photos. Heading back to you now, should be there in about 20 minutes. His voice was flat. That's the only way I can describe it. Flat and empty.
It's like 2 or 3 behind the house.
Script they didn't care about. Jim, are you sure you're okay? You sound... He cut me off. I'm fine, Dick. Really. Just tired. Long day. See you soon. I stood there on the lunar surface, halfway between the LM and the crater, and every instinct I had was screaming that something was wrong. The Davis I knew, the Davis I trained with for 6 months and flown with for 6 days, didn't sound like that. He didn't talk like that. When he was excited about something, you could hear it in his voice. When he was scared, you could hear it. When he was tired, you could hear it. This voice had no emotion in it at all. It was his voice, his accent, his speech patterns, but it wasn't him. I wanted to keep going to the crater, to see for myself what was down there. But Davis was already on his way back, and if something was wrong with him, I needed to be at the LM when he arrived. So I turned around and bounded back, checking over my shoulder every few seconds like something might be following me. The sun was lower now, shadows getting longer. Everything looked different, threatening. I got back to the LM, went through the airlock, got inside, pulled up the surface camera feed on our monitor, aimed it northwest toward the route Davis would take, and I waited, staring at that screen, counting the minutes. At 23 minutes I saw him, a white dot in the distance, getting larger, walking at a normal pace, not hurrying, not running, just walking, like nothing was wrong.
Upstairs,
Like he
chilling
hadn't
by
just
the balcony,
disappeared
coming out
for
the shark
14
room.
minutes and scared me half to death. And that's when I knew for certain the person walking back to the LM might look like Commander James Davis, but it wasn't Jim, not anymore.
He's
He
back,
came
he's back,
through
I'm
the
about to
airlock
kill him.
at
Got him.
11:47 hours. I heard the outer hatch cycle, the pressure equalized, then the inner
Dude's
hatch
wearing
opened.
an FBI
Davis
jacket.
stepped
I'm
inside,
fucking weak.
moved through the standard decontamination procedure, like he'd done it 100 times before, because he had. Everything was technically correct. He brushed the lunar dust off his suit with the
Let's go.
designated brush.
Spiritual.
He checked his seals. He started the process of removing his portable life support system. I helped him.
Guy upstairs, there's two of them
We worked
by the
in
balcony
silence,
side
which wasn't unusual.
with the steps.
After an EVA, you're tired. You just want to get out of the suit and rest.
I marked it on the map. There's a whole bunch of them over there where I marked. Let's go, Chan. They
Davis usually
scared.
hummed while he worked. Some country song he liked. Not this time. This time he was quiet. Perfectly, unnaturally quiet. When we got his PLSS off and secured, I helped him with his helmet. Standard procedure. Release the neck ring.
I saw like 4 of them around here. I just marked that bro
I
triangle.
lifted the helmet off and saw his face. And that's when I knew for certain. It was Davis. I want to be absolutely clear about that. It was his face. Same square jaw, same nose that had been broken twice. Same thin scar over his left eyebrow from a training accident. Same 3-day stubble he always had by day 4 of a mission. Because the razors in the LM were terrible. Every feature was correct. Every detail was exactly right. But it wasn't him. I don't know how else to explain it. It was like looking at an incredibly detailed photograph of someone you know, or a perfect wax sculpture. All the pieces are
Bro's
there, but
alive.
there's no life
Behind the house, that
The eyes
little
were
mansion,
apart.
someone
They
in
were
there
Davis's
sniping.
eyes. Same
I'm going
brown
back there
color,
now.
same shape, but they didn't
Right
move
there,
right.
marked it on the
Eyes
map, yellow
constantly
triangle.
making tiny movements, micro adjustments, scanning and focusing and reacting. These eyes moved too smoothly, too deliberately, like someone was operating them manually, thinking about each motion instead of letting it happen naturally. And they didn't blink. I mean, they did blink eventually, but the timing was wrong. Too slow, too infrequent. And when they did blink, both eyes closed at exactly the same moment, perfectly synchronized. Real people don't blink like that. One eye always closes a fraction of a second before the other. Thanks, Dick, he said, and his voice was normal, friendly. Same Texas accent he'd always had, but the words came out wrong, too measured, like he was concentrating very hard on sounding natural and overcompensating. Long day out there. Got some incredible documentation, though. Houston's going to flip when they see these images. He moved past me toward the storage area, started stowing his equipment. Everything in the right place. Exactly the right place. Too exact. Davis was a good astronaut, organized and professional, but he was also human. He'd occasionally put something in the wrong pocket, have to shift things around, make small mistakes.
There's a chick
This
going
version of
around
Davis
undercover
made no
with the
mistakes.
black girl.
Every movement was precise,
Blonde hair.
efficient, perfect. And that perfection was terrifying because humans aren't perfect. We're sloppy. We improvise. We make tiny errors constantly. Whatever this was, it wasn't sloppy. It was something trying very
What?
hard to
These guys are
achieve.
camping on the ground and
I
losing.
don't quite understand how to do it imperfectly. I asked him
Like,
what happened in those 14 minutes. What he saw inside the structure. He turned to look at me, and that's when I noticed another thing. His head moved in one
back here,
smooth
guys are
motion.
sniping.
No
There's like
little
3 of them.
adjustments, no natural acceleration.
Got like
or
3 kills in the row
deceleration.
just now.
Just a constant smooth pivot from facing one direction to facing another. Oh, that, he said.
The whole team's
I
back
swear
here,
he
marked on
smiled,
that.
but his eyes didn't change. Radio interference, like I said. I was inside taking photos and the signal couldn't penetrate the structure. Didn't realize you couldn't hear me until I came back out. Sorry for the scare. I told him I'd asked what he saw, not what happened to the radio. He paused. For exactly 3 seconds. I counted. Then, rock formations. Some interesting crystalline structures embedded in the walls. Might be valuable for geological analysis. I took samples. He patted his sample bag. We can catalog them when we prep for launch. That was a perfectly reasonable answer. Exactly the kind of thing Davis would say. But he delivered it like he was reading from a script. No enthusiasm. No curiosity. Davis lived for geology. He'd talk for hours about rock formations if you let him. This Davis just stated facts and stopped. The rest of that day was a nightmare
Sniper
of
still
small,
on the back
wrong
on the shit.
details. We ate dinner together. Same freeze-dried food we'd been eating for days. Davis ate normally, used his utensils correctly, made appropriate eating sounds, but he never looked at his food. Just stared straight ahead at the wall, bringing the fork to his mouth with mechanical precision, chewing exactly 15 times before swallowing. Always 15. I counted. I asked him how he felt. Fine, he said. Tired, but fine.
In LA.
I asked if he felt sick at all. If maybe he'd been exposed to something in the structure. No, he said. I feel normal. But he said it too quickly, like he'd been expecting the question and had the answer prepared. Except he noises, but it came out of his mouth fully formed instead of building naturally. Dick, you're being paranoid again. I'm fine. Everything's fine. We made an incredible discovery today. Aren't you excited? I told him yes. I was excited. I wasn't. I was terrified. That night I couldn't sleep. Didn't even try. I lay in my hammock, staring at the ceiling, listening to that thud, thud, thud that never stopped. Davis was in his hammock 3 feet away. I could hear him breathing. Slow, steady, perfectly regular breaths. In for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds. Exactly 4 seconds. Every time. No variation. No natural.
Hey guys, what's up? What's
Just
up?
mechanical breathing,
That's me.
like a ventilator.